Hi folks, I'm Etzion from Israel, Haifa. Today is the 23rd of November 2024. We are going to share another session of Baba stories, Mehera stories, and the book of Genesis. And as usual, traditionally, we start with a musical piece. As usual, as I used to say, it's a group of various individuals. By the way, I'm in the center playing the bassoon with my friend Oded. Some of the participants there don't share with us any longer, like the two horn players gone and a few more gone, and new ones came. It's a constant flow of people. They come and go. But what characterizes all this phenomenon, we all separate individual, egoistic people. Basically, that's the situation. But still, we can come together as a group, obey the point of focus, the conductor, Here we have a conductress, and come together as one, because when we hear music, we actually don't hear 20, 30, 50 instruments. We hear one sound. That's the uniqueness. To bring us as one, it's quite an ordeal with the conductor. It's a very big deal to bring all these individuals together. So they will play like one body, perfectly synchronized. And this is a hint for what we keep on saying about the spiritual circles. Without the re-establishment of the spiritual circles, there is no way whatsoever the humanity will be able to come back to its true position. This, because only through the recreation of spiritual circles we can create the spiritual government on earth, which would direct humanity how to act without getting so much or many negative sanskars which are rebound on us and aim to destroy ourselves. We create our own means of destruction. Since we dropped the proper systems in the what we call the Garden of Eden, and we created our own selfish systems which are not working, as we can witness that the fate of humanity is going from bad to worse. And all of us, all the spiritual movements I have known, it is simply not working, but maybe a few pockets here and there of individuals who can work together with harmony. The group, we are not doing it. That's what it is. It's the situation. Talking about this particular group, we call Baba Lovers. I don't know if we have any place. I witnessed once, twice, for Sufis working together, creating divine energy, because I was present there during 2002. What's happening today, I have no idea. I'm not a Sufi, I'm not connected there, and I have no idea what they're doing at the moment. I trust, hopefully, they continue doing the good work. And hopefully, I trust more people in our community who are working together with harmony and accord, but they are hidden and we don't know about them. Very humble, most likely. Why I'm saying it? Because I read the material which is coming from the various centers. Hardly any material is coming. Hardly any new talks or something new. If something is coming as a quotes from Meir Baba or what's coming from Meherabad, there will be Sahavas or the Amartiti, but they don't bring us anything new. So that's what it is. So maybe we have a group of trustees, and they still can, I don't know, they're working. The fact is, we don't receive any spiritual messages from them, from the trust, since Baoji passed away, unfortunately. Or maybe they do the work, like, quietly, silently, I have no idea. From the other centers here and there, and hopefully there are other spiritual or religious groups in the world who have been doing something. I'm sure they do, because I know there are a few pockets of religious Jews here in Israel whom I know a little bit. And they do collective work, spiritual collective work, centered on Yahweh Elohim, which appears in the book of Genesis, you can call it the group of the masters, the fraternity of the masters, in their permanent centering is the divine beloved. And who is the divine beloved? We as Baba lovers, we should know by now. Okay. I keep on saying it because nobody else in the community is saying it, not to my knowledge. So from time to time, I enter either I get links or I enter the Baba Zoom and I choose to listen to somebody, and suddenly we have a wonderful community, very talented people, and first class. You can the best people, but something is not working. Something is. I don't know. I'm not judging, complaining. I'm just sharing. That's it. So I'll continue with the book of Genesis a little bit, where it was hidden. Here it is. But before I'll start with this. We came to here last session. Maybe all the cats next to me, cuddling together. I'll continue a little bit. This is the second destruction, the destruction of the flood. Before that, the first destruction is where we destroy the Garden of Eden when we decide to expel the divine beloved from the garden. The garden is this realm of our responsibility, the earth. This is we are responsible for this. For whatsoever clever reason, we told the big guy, if you want to call it this way, the Lord, the God, it doesn't matter the name. We'll do it on our own. We know how to do it. This is the eating of the forbidden fruit. Eating the forbidden fruit, thinking that our intelligence is good enough to figure out how things work, but our human intelligence is limited and fractional, and we cannot see all the in and outs of creation with our limited consciousness. Only by when we establish spiritual circles, all the members together, they have a broader state of consciousness than a single one. Quite obvious. Even humans call it brainstorming, and we want to create something bigger than the work of one individual. So people have to get together, but they get together because either they are being obliged, like in the army, or they are being paid by the corporations. They ask them to invent something new, to create something new. So for this, you need a team of people to work together. Some of these teams are 5 people or 50,000, depends what you have to accomplish. And the Lord saw that the wickedness of men was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. As the Creator, our beloved, have a feeling of remorse why he had created us, and we wrecked the creation, destroy everything. So he feels sorry for himself. Just to say how compassionate he is. And the Lord say, I will blot out men whom I have created from the face of the earth, both men and beasts and creeping thing and fowl of the earth, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Throughout the generations of humanity, there was one individual by the name of Noah. Here it's actually call him Noah. Noah is, I think I spoke about this before, to comfort also. Compassionate. He made the Lord feeling comfortable, made the Lord comfortable. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was in his generations a man righteous and wholehearted. Noah walked with God. The man was centered on the divine beloved. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the earth was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, with rooms shalt thou make the ark. The disintegration of the spiritual circles that are supposed to assist humans in the proper management of the residues of consciousness causes an increasing accumulation of sediment in the darkness of the subconscious, and these deposits, when not properly treated, are destructive. They destroy the human mind and cause people to behave destructively. This is a problem of elimination of sanskars. And here you can see that this ancient manuscript is dealing with the problem of sanskars from the very first verse. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the darkness of the deep. This is a state of the sub, as I call it, consciousness, where everything we have been doing is being accumulated from the very first moment of entering to the creation. We started to move, and every movement is being recorded there. It's being etched with non-erasable ink. And the only way to erase it and to become free, we need spiritual wisdom and the assistance of the divine beings who helped us to create this world. They accomplished the path eons ago, and this is what I call here the circle of Yahweh Elohim, fraternity of the masters, all of them, the divine beings, accomplished the path, and they continue to support the creation in us, whether they're visible or not. The process of disintegration of the human race has reached its climax. The center of consciousness in man is concerned only with self-satisfaction, ruthless control and tyranny over all aspects of creation, in a state of complete detachment from the circle of Yahweh Elohim, from the mechanism that is supposed to guide the human race. The state in which there is a spiritual vacuum on earth generates destructive forces, which are created like a tornado, and most of the human race is being destroyed. Actually, what humans have been achieved is a vacuum. And how the tornado is being generated by a vacuum. Good means the completion of a spiritual circle, a cycle that generates a new state in the cosmos that serves to establish a higher level of consciousness Evil symbolizes the destruction of this cycle. We can change this later. The cycles of destruction are documented everywhere on Earth. Some great natural disasters, some man-made, fighting each other unabated once humans sank into kind's consciousness and began to murder the inner consciousness of heaven. The internal battle between ourselves, between the spiritual aspects and material aspects within each of us, reached a stage the spiritual aspect was murdered by the material aspect, which sees material achievement on earth as a goal. This internal murder eventually led to the external murders we witness everywhere. As mentioned, the thoughts we think solidify, and so the inner thoughts of murder manifest as physical murders. People try to turn the cosmic engine upside down to serve their own selfish purposes. But this is impossible. The freedom of choice given to people on earth is limited. They may serve the purpose of creation or deny it. They can do nothing about the cosmic cycles, which go even beyond the decisions of the circle of Yahweh Elohim, the masters. The masters are not going to change, and they cannot change the cosmic engine. We are going to review it in a minute. And if they could, they are not going to do it because it's perfect and just. Of course, the members of this circle do not think of changing the cosmic laws. They know very well the great wisdom and grace that are concealed in them. The footnote directs us to the cosmic engine. It is at the end. We viewed it a few times. We'll view it again. Keep on bringing this diagram. I made this diagram, and Mehera referred to this in my last letter, her last letter to me, about the book I wrote. I'll show you this booklet. I don't know if you see it here, or maybe I'll show it later. In the booklet which I wrote in Baba Samadhi 1983, by the end of it. Eventually it was published. It's also on my website, The Story of Mankind. We'll enter later on after this session, we'll enter my website. I'll show you where this little book is. And we look again at Mehera's comment. Mehera was taken by this diagram. She told me, this is a letter from 84. Thank you for sending me a copy of the book you have just published, The Story of Mankind. And she just skimmed through it. I didn't put Baba's name on it, I called him Adam, which later on we discovered that Adam mentioned his first avatar. I was struck by the diagram you included. This diagram, which you see, beloved Baba has clearly mentioned you are born once and you really die once. And I wrote all these things here. You can see point of birth, point of death. I think I read the God Speaks once, at least at that time. And what I'm saying is actually included, I believe, in God Speaks. But when I wrote the thing and I was working on this book, as I have been doing all the time, I didn't look at other books externally. I don't think so. Anyway, this diagram doesn't include in God Speaks. Otherwise, I would say that I took it from God Speaks. It is not there, but more or less the movement of the soul. So mineral, plant, animals, you can see it in Baba material, but you don't see it like this. As it was being portrayed here. You can see the top is white. This is the divinity, this unconscious divinity. Baba speaks about this in God Speaks, and the conscious divinity, and as if the unconscious divinity, which is also the sleeping state, night, which appears in the book of Genesis, day and night. Night is evil, and day is good. Evil, it's not evil as what we call. It is when the possessor for creation are walking and they still didn't reach the culmination, the goal. Only when you reach the goal here, you see we have all this movement of the individuals, minerals, plants, animals, and you can see this circumference is growing and it's full of darkness. These are the sanskaras are accumulating, and this is a human stage. Here we reach the full state of consciousness, but it's completely full of sanskaras. So we have to now enter involution and empty, destroy all these sanskara till we reach this state. In this state, our subconscious mind is completely erased, it's completely clean, and thus, and you can see we're still on the physical plane, but you see it's opening, we are merged with a conscious divinity, we become one with conscious divinity, and this is the state of the perfect master's avatar, the Sadguru, etc. We'll go back from where we been to. So this was the story. So a little bit small comment on the cosmic engine. It's very important to understand this, because otherwise we don't really understand the simplification of God Speaks in one diagram. You look at the diagram and you understand the story of creation and the whole of humanity. That's why it came. And I believe, as I have been witnessing all along, that whatsoever I've been doing is being inspired by Baba himself. Like this book of Genesis. How do you think it came to be? So because I'm so clever, it's because Baba inspired me to do this. Story of the flood. Flood stories exist in folk tales all over the world. We will be interested in the stories from Mesopotamia, Aram Naharaim, Iraq, more or less. From where Abraham came to Canaan. Several versions of the flood story exist in Mesopotamian mythology. The most extensive of these is a story of Athraxis, written in the 17th century BCE by a Babylonian writer named Alataya. They discovered the library, in the library, ancient library, buried under the sands somewhere in Iraq or I don't know where, or Syria. I think it was Iraq, today Iraq. According to this story, humans were initially immortal and over multiplied. Due to the tumult they caused, the god Enlil decided to exterminate them by plague and flood. Anchi, the god of wisdom and fresh water, disobeyed Enlil and revealed himself in a dream to the human Atraxis. He warned him of the impending disaster and instructed him how to build a ship. The gods regretted the destruction of humanity because there was no one left to offer sacrifices to them. But after the flood ends, Atraxis came out of the ark and, like Noah, makes an offering to them. Like the biblical gods, the Babylonian gods made excuses and decided not to try to destroy the human race again. Instead, they limit its reproduction by condemning it to death. Okay, I'll skip this passage. I sometimes feel like adding portions of history to give more depth to the story of Genesis. But even we could stick only to the text. So I'll skip these. These mythologies, the gods are revealed to be limited in the power, and in fact, the flood is conducted by itself. And according to the stories of the Torah, God is the manager and determinant by virtue of his unlimited abilities. And the Lord say out to Noah. We should say it properly, Noah. Unfortunately, in Europe, they have difficulty saying Even it appears in German, some kind of Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
Etzion.
I kept all these words for the convenience of the reader, so he doesn't need to open the Bible and compare it. And also, maybe you have never read it before. What do I know? Not everybody reads all the Testament. People from the West reading mainly the New Testament. Evangelicals and others do read the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high mountains that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all the flesh perished that moved upon the earth, both fowl and cattle and beast, and every swarming thing that swarmeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life. Whatsoever was in the dry land died, and he blotted out every living substance which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle and creeping thing, and fowl of the heaven, and they were blotted out from the earth. And Noah only was left, and they that were with him in the ark, his children and their wives and the etc., and the grandchildren. And
Etzion, can I say
collections of
something?
animals and fowl were in the ark. You could say it doesn't make sense, the planet is huge, etc., but this is the story. But if you read the story, there are more secrets, spiritual wisdom, which I didn't refer to. I didn't feel like referring to all the layers of divine secrets concealed in these stories. If you want to find out, you can study Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism. They get into this. But what I have been writing is not a mystical book. I'm not dealing mysticism, I'm dealing the psychology, the psychological movements or actions in our mind, and how to deal with our psychology. That's purpose of this book. And Noach builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled the sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more everything living, as I have done, while the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. To understand the issue of sacrifices, we should go back what I have explained on the issue of the sacrifice of Cain and Hevel, is that eventually Cain, the physical man, murdered Hevel, the spiritual man, and Cain, they made offerings to God. Cain offered the fruit and vegetables, and Hevel offered slaughtered animals and burned them before God. And this symbolizes our work of eliminating sanskaras. Cain is doing a superficial work because the vegetables are loose sanskaras, and the animals represent the hard sanskaras, which are accumulating in our subconscious mind. And while we are burning them, we clean our subconscious mind, and this process cleans the stench within our subconscious mind. This pleases God. And God accepts this kind of sacrifice and this kind of offering, because we do the proper work. And this explains this bizarre story of Cain and Hevel, or what's going on there. If you understand these spiritual analogies, then we understand why is all this process of sacrifice in the creation. Read a little bit more. However, I don't know what's to these pop-ups. However, after the great destruction, there remains a core of people striving to fulfill the purpose of creation. This is the meaning of the phrase, pleasing Yahweh Elohim, a person focused on the divine plan. Build an altar to Yahweh Elohim, establish within his soul the system that works to dismantle the subconscious residues by focusing on the circle of Yahweh Elohim, which is the most effective way to dismantle them, since they are constantly happening in our souls due to daily activities. Thus, the path to progress on Jacob's ladder is assured. See later in the discussion of Jacob's ladder. This will be when we talk about the stories of the patriarchs. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob, later on, his name was changed to Israel when he became God realized. And Jacob had a dream where he could saw in the dream when he fled Canaan to Iraq, Ram Naharaim, it was called in those days. We will discuss the stories when we'll reach it. Don't want to deal with this now. Then in his dream, he saw a ladder, the angels going up and down. And this actually is the cycles of reincarnation on earth, etc. This whole matter of altars on which we make offerings to Yahweh Elohim, who enjoys the smell of fragrance, is nothing but an allegory of the inner work we do in our souls, the process of erasing internal residues and producing spiritual energy. They are the smell of fragrance that pleases Yahweh Elohim. Note the explanation before on the sacrifices of Cain and Hevel. I just commented about this. I think I will stop here, but I want to share with you. Now we have a polling with the sun shining directly on Earth. And what I'm going to do with this, to hide it. Put the sun mark where it's stored. Let me not forget. Next session. Okay. We are here. I will remove where the sun is not shining so strongly because the picture will won't look, I believe. Just a minute. You will see this table of mine outside in the garden. There's all kinds of things I need. I'll move to the other side. There is some. Shall we do? It would be like this. Put on my lap. Next to the mitzvahs. Yeah, I guess you can see them. Some of them, we have a few little ones. The cat mother gave birth to a few of them in our garden. They like our garden, the cats, the animals, and the breeding around. So, all my peppers are on the other side of the table. I'll bring it here. Hello, little ones. Yeah. Say hello to the community. It's so small, this little thing. I'm holding it here like this.
So sweet.
Go back to your mommy and enjoy it. So we have the bird, the chicken, is still roaming around here, and It's part of the zoo. It became a zoo, this garden. What I want to share with you, put on my laps, the computer because of the sun. It's winter now, end of November, and we have a sunny day. I want to share with you some of the books which I made for I got the center of Baba. I felt compelled by him to do something. He didn't tell me directly what to do. Talking about 1980. It's actually 1980. I'm receiving the Baba Center from Kerry Ben Shammai. I told you this story before, but I don't mind to tell it again because most likely the people who are attending these sessions who never heard it before, there's nothing wrong telling it again. I'm not going to send you to sessions we made half a year ago. I spoke extensively. There are all the recordings of my Zoom meetings before the series of which we call now the Book of Genesis. And I was sharing with Betty my Baba stories, and the community liked it at that time. And later on, when I started this reading, so not so much people attended, and then decided to move it to Israel time, 11 in the morning, which is more convenient for me than speaking at midnight our time. Even I don't mind doing it for the sake of community, but if people didn't come, I'd rather do it in the morning. It's more convenient for me. And in spite of there are quite a few Israelis, I don't know, they don't attend. In the past, I invited them to come to Zoom meetings, but nobody did. So that's a choice or decision, whatever. Personally, I don't care. As I said in the past, one of the things Baba destroyed in my psychic makeup is no inclination whatsoever for results. It's his job, not mine. I don't care. So the first book, I don't know what you can see. This is the first book printed in Israel. I don't know what you can see because I'm in the shadow. You can say something. It's in Hebrew, the very first book printed, 1964, by Kerry Ben Shammai. And she sent it to Baba. And Baba was very pleased and he signed the book and sent it back with the signature. The book disappeared. It's like Kerry gave it away by coincidence, mistake to some fortunate soul. And where is it? We don't know. So when I got the center from Baba, from Kerry Ben Shammai, Baba Center from Kerry, I received this compulsion to do something. I didn't know what to do. I didn't feel any spiritually inclined or capable. I didn't know why he put all this obligation on my head, but he knows what he's doing. And over the years, what's happening with us that we're entering the boots, we're learning how to wear the sandals and to walk the path. When you enter spiritual training, you are not being trained in the beginning, but you learn to be trained. That's the whole point. So the very first book I translated the booklet Meherabad on War. As you can see it here. And but it was not published 81. Each year it was published 2003. Because Mani told me they don't like me to start my work with a book on war. Or whatever the reason. I don't think this was a reason, it was a matter. And because she said it to me, it was all prepared for print. It was inside the wheels of the printing press. And I had to stop it because I got a notice from Mani that they don't like this book. And they are the copyright holders. And I have to do whatever they're being told. And I didn't know what to do. I feel the compulsion from Baba kept on pushing on my head, do something, do something, do something. And I said, wait, they don't want this. What do you want to do? Then I was thinking that after 50 years, copyrights are being, the copyrights are, how you call it? The law says 50 years they are own the copyrights. I don't know the exact expression in English, but after 50 years, the rights are being expired, and people can do with it whatever they want. Then what happened, I discovered in my library the original book of soaps and soaps from 1929 and 1930, plus it's over, and I was 1982 by that time, 81, 82. More than 50 years have passed. So I called one of our main publishing house in Jerusalem at that time and asked them what the law said about the copyrights, for how long when it is being expired. And they told me over the telephone, 50 years after print. The truth is 50 years after the passing of the author. But that's what they told me. So what I did, I published this little booklet, and I called it The Story of Ali. That's a portion from Soaps and Strops. I love the story of one of the ashram boys in the 20s, the story of Ali, and I published the book without notifying the trust and said, well, they don't like either they don't like my person or they don't like this, and I got the directive from Baba, you do not pay attention to anyone, you do your work as you understand. So he presumably inspired the people with whom I spoke to tell me there's 50 years of the publication. He's clever. He knows everything. This is a picture in the book, and you can see Ali down there. People who know this story, it's all you can find these books in the archives of the Avatar Meherabad Trust. They have all these books online, but without the pictures. But you can get these pictures if you search and look for it here and there. I think in Meherabad Travels, you will find all the pictures and the documented this about the Prem Ashram boys, etc. Has been doing wonderful work, placing wonderful material on the internet. Anthony Zua from Australia. So I published this book and I sent it to Meir. I think at that time. I don't remember her response. Maybe it's in the letters or not. I have no idea. But then no, I don't think I sent. I don't remember anything. And anyway, by end of 82, we came to Meherabad, and then I gave it to the trust. I gave it to money at that time, I think. No, this was that's it in 1982. Never mind all these stories. I gave them the book, and they didn't say any word about copyrights or violation of copyrights. They realized that the guy is determined. It's better not to mess up with him. They used to get involved with all kinds of strange Baba lovers who hear Babas talking to them, and some of the guys are irrational. But I don't know what they made up of all these stories. The guy irrational is not rational, but I didn't care if I'm rational or not rational. I was concerned. I was receiving the impulse from the beloved, so I have to obey it. Because what the people are thinking about this, I didn't care, including the Mandeli. Of course, I respect the Mandeli and have great admiration for them, but they are not my lords. They didn't decide that I will replace Keri Ben Shammai, so Baba decided. So I have to do what he wants me to do. That's the way it goes. And also, he never told me, do this and do that. He just kept on pushing on me, do something. That's all. What to do, it's my problem. And when I initiated what I was doing, then either he would put in his hands there to accomplish it or inspire me what to do and how to accomplish things, send me to the right sources, the right materials, the right people, so I will be accomplished. And that's what I have been doing ever since. And the book on war, this is a book on war, which was published. It was the first book I've translated. And when I finished the translation of the book, which took me about 2 weeks, my hands were seized by force. I could feel the pressure of hands, and I could see the indentations. You see, when somebody is holding your hands, there is an indentation on the flesh. I looked at this, it was real, it was sharp midnight. I was looking at there was force. You can see there is, you see the indentation. I could see, I didn't see the hands and the fingers, but you can see, could feel the indentation. It was powerful holding my hands, and my hands started to write automatically. But this force, and I was totally bewildered because it never happened before. I had all kinds of unusual Baba experiences. But because of the powerful experience I have had with him in the first place, I didn't make any big deal about the spiritual experiences. All this looks to me minor insignificance. Why he gave it because he wanted to give it. I never made any big deal about spiritual experiences, and I was not looking for spiritual experiences. When it came, it came. That's his decisions, not mine, for his spiritual reasons. And it is presumed this happened because I didn't believe in the phenomenon of automatic writing. So that's why I decided to do it, most likely. So it happened. So I witnessed it. But at the end of this, and just to go back a little bit, 1974, there was this devastating war between Israel and Syria and Egypt. They keep on wishing to destroy this little Israel, this tiny speck of land. I don't know why it drives them mad. You just look at the Arabic lands from Morocco till Iraq. So many vast lands Arabs have, and they cannot sell. The Israelis, the Jews, the Israelis, they just want to buy, let's say, 0.5% of the lands for full money. When they came in the beginning of the century to Israel, in the 20th century, they bought land. They couldn't take anything by force, and nobody took anything by force. But the Arabs already in the 20s declared a war of extermination against the Jews. Supposedly, this is a directives by the Quran or the Hadith, the interpretations of the concerning the acts of Muhammad, the messenger, the Rasul. I think they made up most of these things. There are all kinds of stories because they don't have a proper records from the time of. So because I'm all the time being engulfed with wars, so I decided to start. It took my attention a booklet on war, which was published by the Pune Center by Ramakrishna. So back there, 74 war. Baba gave me. I've been to the war and I had a very powerful experiences with Baba, which I cannot say much about this. That after some time, deep to the war, these devastations that people what they are doing to each other, I witnessed it many times because it was. We were duty bound by the laws of the country, and we had no other choice. Most of us are refugees, Holocaust survivors, and our kind neighbors didn't care at all, but their own goal of forcing all humanity to the tenets of Islam. Even the 5 times a day is a prayer for the compassionate, merciful God. Bismillah Rahman el-Rahim. Where is their compassion? I don't know. Well, that's the prayer. Never mind. It's posing only for themselves, not for the people. Never mind. I'm not sitting as a judge for this Advent. We're dealing with the failures and the destructiveness of former Advents because there's not one single Advent which succeeded to bring humanity back to its path. Nothing is have been working on this. So 74, I'm getting these powerful insights from Baba. And the gist is like this: you are the cause of this war. I was to say the least, I was taking back. What time I was just a humble corporal in the army, very lowly ranked. I had definitely no political, no material, no. There was not any general in the army who made some bad decisions and all this. They're humans, they all make bad decisions because they're not centered on the divine, but nobody's centered on the divine beloved. So whatsoever people are doing, due to this lack of centering, is destructive. So he told me this, and I was blown away and actually lost my brains for quite some time from all this revelation because I had very powerful experiences with him, so I knew that this is for real. And then I said, well, what have I done? And now the next insight was, and what I'm saying is true for all of us because there are many people in this Bible community cannot stop judging good and bad. There is war going on in the Middle East as if there are 100 wars going all over the planet. This doesn't disturb our wonderful Babalavos. Only the war here in Israel disturbs them and never heard them complaining the war in Ukraine or the horrors in China, North Korea, the problems, the non-stop civil war in America. You ever think 15,000 or 20,000 killings each year just in the United States? And who knows what's going on in the Central America, all over the place. There's a horrendous wars going on in Africa. It is not mentioned in the CNN because they're not interested. The reporters going there, it's too risky. And they cannot enjoy the 10-star hotels in Jerusalem, where you have this lavish gourmet meals, and then you can make a little cover of the war in Palestine and have all these wonderful benefits. Why to go to the Sudan or to Darfur? Do you know what's going on there? Millions of women are being raped there every day. God knows what's going on there. It's not interested. Not interested. All these miserable black people, let them kill, exterminate each other. The Far East, wars in the Far East, all over the planet. Millions and millions of women are being raped every day in the brothels, and they're selling human beings here and there. They don't care about this. You won't hear it from our kind governments about all this. And if you care, so why don't you go? You care about the war in Gaza, so why don't you go to Gaza physically and help them? Then you'll discover what the truth about Gaza is. Unfortunately, I've been there. I know what's going on there more or less, and I don't count on the media so much. It's mostly lies. The Israeli media is lying to the public, and the CNN is lying, and Fox News is lying. All of them, they give you false the documentation. You don't really what's going on. Better to stay away from all this. And now the second insight came, how to heal humanity. And then by forming the spiritual circles, I'm talking about 74. And it came by inspiration from Baba. To redeem, to recreate humanity, to re-establish it to its proper path, we need to create groups of people centered on the divine beloved and learning to work harmoniously. When I was released eventually from all this ordeal of the world, I started to look around in the country to search for such people. Talking about 74, 75, 76. So I got involved with various spiritual groups because there were no Baba lovers at all in Israel, but myself and Kerry Ben Shammai. And with Kerry Ben Shammai, I couldn't do much anyway. I spoke about this, how insistent she would carry. I spoke about this. I don't want to get into to deal with this again. She was very special for Baba, and I got very powerful messages about her right from the beginning. And the message was, since I used to be, as I read it, to get conflicts with people, and this took me many years to eradicate this destructive phenomenon of arguing and competing. And, we humans with our brains, we think when we know what is better, and constant judgment between good and evil. And at a certain point, I took intense work to eradicate all this destructiveness from my human mind, hopefully to a certain degree. So I got involved with various groups here and there, whom I know, and Baba inspired me, ordered me to join a group of some individuals who came from United States and Canada to Israel to start some kind of a mission by some spiritual group. I'm not going to say who is this group, it doesn't matter. The group eventually disintegrated, also worldwide. People started to exploit each other. They developed the spiritual circles, circles of control, and there was a point of focus. And many of these people who were acting as a conductor, so points of focus, managers, many of them are exploiting the circle members. Either took money or taking advantage of the ladies, and it happened. So the whole thing, the whole ministry collapsed. They're still working, they still exist, and still, but I'm not going to get into it, doesn't matter. Another spiritual group here in Israel, which I try to communicate, to share, it didn't work out. Also, I was too green for this work, but due to all this, I received very powerful experiences, painful experiences of dealing with humans. It's quite quite difficult and complicated. Baba helped me later on how to get out of this, and then I started the work of cleaning, washing the sanskar from the subconscious mind under his directives. And actually, a few months after he walked into my life, back there in 72, due to, presumably to the nature of my surrender and resignation and letting go of the free will, because when I stood face to face with divine love, this so-called free will looked to me as something ridiculous. I wish to do what he want me to, what I can do for him and for humanity under his directives. And more than this, I was I wish to help him to have to share his burden, so he won't be burdened by my person and to ease up his burden. It was back in 72. I got this kind of insights, and I didn't have any clue whatsoever about spiritual training, or I don't know. This will simply cross my mind, and maybe due to all these decisions of mine, that he was willing to give me all this inspiration. I think I don't see any other reason. I don't know. He never told me I like this, I don't like this. It's not working like this. But due to all these decades of work, and keep on receiving inspirations from him, powerful inspirations, which I have been sharing with him. That is the rest of Genesis. From where it comes, it doesn't exist. My interpretation here is, cannot say my interpretations, but the interpretation I was receiving by powerful thought transmissions from Baba. So I wrote it down. It happened many times before. So after, for example, I finished the booklet of Meherabad. I have the originals in English in my library. It's not here, it's inside. When I finished this booklet, my hands were seized, as I said, and I wrote automatically the blueprint for reconstructing humanity. It's on my website. You know what? I'll go to my website. As the sun moves, I will go back to my. Comfortable sitting there. Then here. I don't. Still some glare from the sun. I'll go back to this place. Sitting before. It's okay. Never mind. The cats don't mind, that's for sure. Cats are all over me. Hey, you little one. They're cute, they run away when I'm trying to grab them. Okay, I want to find this. I'll show you my website a little bit. We have no time limitations. The next session will start only in 3 hours, I believe. The RT, 9 in the morning EST, is 3 or 4 afternoon Israel time. What I wanted to look at, here it is. Here is my website. This is our website. I'm going to share it with you. Just a minute. And Okay. Go back. Share. Let's see if it's there. Yes. This is an Israeli website. You can see it here. Meherabad.com. Very simple, easy name to remember. You type meherabadisrael.com. You have the English section. This is Hebrew. These are Hebrew glyphs. And this is the English glyphs. You can see it. You place your cursor on the English section, articles, letters, photos. We went to the articles. And this is the beginning version of the Keepers of the Ten Commandments, the first version I wrote on the book of Genesis. And this is a small article on Israelis and Arabs, art rail maintenance, how Baba trained me to work with sanskaras. And this is the book, The Story of Mankind. Here it is, just a minute. Bring it again here. Let's see it. You have to download it. I don't know if you see it because of the sharing. And this is the Torah of Master Moses. Now we'll go to Israelis and Arabs. It's a PDF. You have to open it. And I would like to read it to you. And this was written, as I told you, by automatic writing. My hands were being held. I wrote it in Hebrew. Later on, it was translated into English. As I felt right while writing again the book, The Story of Mankind. This little book is half Hebrew, half English. This article has nothing to do with the nations who live in the Middle East and have conflict over territories. It meant the spiritual purpose behind the people and is relevant to all people everywhere. A quote from the introduction which I wrote to the book, Meher Baba on War. This book came to say that the truth exists in spite of all human efforts to discard it to death. We have a special purpose on earth, and this is not being expressed by eating, drinking, making love, etc. Man was created to be a living truth, an example and a sign for his neighborhood in his living. We are not thinking and eating animals, but the link between the cosmos and this earth. This land, which was created to enable endless creatures to evolve on the path to infinite states of consciousness under the supervision of humankind, till the final perfect state through which the Creator himself is being revealed on earth as a perfect being endowed with ultimate infinite consciousness. The state of Israel has a unique purpose on earth, just the same that each country and nation have their own special task. We can see the body of mankind like one big body, like the human body. Consists of many organs and systems, the nervous system, the muscles, the bones, digestion, excretion, etc. In the living body, we can note two major systems, control and command, or the system of the brain and the nerves. In the system of operation and work, the muscles. The place of this land is in the control mechanism of the planetary body and serves as one of its main components. This is not a shelter for persecuted people, by a very special organ. The existence of this organ depends on its components. The human beings, each one of them is like one cell in the body. These cannot survive by their single efforts, but as one harmonious whole. If we will give a momentary look at the daily living, we will see a dense soup of endless individuals who don't know why they exist and what is their destiny. So leadership is needed, those individuals who are endowed with greater and deeper understanding, who know what is their task and how to execute it. Their task today is to shape the general body and channel it to the direction which will bring healing and harmonious, correct living. There is not today such a leadership in action, and that's why things look as they are. This book is being dedicated to this potential leadership which exists in the country, to those people who know why they live here, who can transcend beyond the feeling of one lonely small person, and who sees themselves as part and parcel of the creation beyond. If this leadership won't take on itself the responsibility which is being placed on it, life won't be able to continue to exist. If this country won't come back and take its correct stance in the body of humankind, it won't be able to exist, and this will be the fate of all life on earth. Today, the body of humankind is like a rotten, decaying body, which is trying by all means to postpone its moment of dying. If life continues and the body of humankind will receive its anticipated healing, it depends if those mentioned will rise up and fulfill their duties for which they were created. The special body that the people who live here were destined to create consists of two components that cannot function without the other, like the two chambers of the heart. There is no existence for the heart without its two chambers. Imagine to yourself that one chamber gets jealous of the other and tries to throw it outside as if saying, "This heart is mine, it is mine inheritance." If it will succeed, it will sentence itself to death. Likewise, this organ consists of two big units, Jews and Arabs, or what we once called the children of Israel and the children of Ishmael. Ishmael was the father of the Arabs, son of Abraham, descendants of Lord Abraham. These two have to live together like one harmonious body. This land was meant for both of them together. The meaning of Israel is the man of God, a man of example, who proves in his daily living the existence of the absolute truth. And the meaning of Ishmael is listening to God, listening to the example and directives of the man God. Or we can say that the Arabs need the example we, Israelis, have to proclaim. They cannot survive without us, and we cannot survive without them. The only cause which unites the Arabs together is their hatred to Israel. And the only true cause which should unite them should be their love to Israel. And this will happen only when the God-man people will fulfill their destiny again. Wars will not stop as long as this state won't exist. It is not possible to invent peace when present condition will remain, sort of. Don't disturb me and I won't disturb you. Such peace is an illusion. There is no substitute for the truth. And sweet words won't plaster reality. As long as each person sees himself as a separate, egoistic being, there won't be peace. Humans won't be able to evolve with a proper stance if they won't have leaders as an example. People with wisdom and understanding who stand above selfish, narrow national considerations, etc. The prime responsibility rests on those who can take such responsibility. Signed, if you think that my mind created this short treatise, forget about it. I wrote something which I didn't know at that time at all. What was written there, I didn't know while writing it. The chambers of the art, all this in one page of this one 4A page, and the whole wisdom is there. The human mind, the humans, when they write a book of wisdom, it has to consist at least 1,000 pages. It's just one page. One page tells you the whole truth, and that's it. You don't need to read 20,000 books. It's the only avatar can do such a thing. That's what it is. That's the truth. It's beautiful. It's simple, easy, beautiful, and accessible, and that's the way to do it. And we are not doing it. Nobody does. The whole world doesn't do it. This is a solution for all human conflicts. They have to come together as one body under directives of the perfect masters. And due to our ridiculous free will, we refuse to do it. And then there is a good question: why the spiritual circles don't interfere? And the answer I asked about this: why don't you reveal yourself to the creation? And the answer, supposedly, as I understood it, if I reveal myself, then the people will bury all of humanity will bury themselves in shame in the ground. They'll dig themselves graves and cover themselves and bury themselves alive out of shame. When they will experience his divinity, as I have experienced his life, he will manifest his belovedness. All of humanity will simply will die out of shame. How can we betray such a beloved over the millennia, the past 10,000 years at least? All these are advents and advents, advent after advent after advent, and we take all these advents and throw them to the gutter. That's what we have been doing, inventing all kinds of systems to exploit each other, and manipulations and madness and all kinds of crazy things. You can see it all over the various religions. But the book of Genesis remained intact. So far, I didn't see any distortions there against the teaching of the Godhood. The Jews managed to keep this textbook, which Baba wrote with Moses, almost intact. And we have the evidence, which was discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know, I prepared the date. Where it is, here it is. This is a portion of the Torah speaking about sacrifices. This is ancient Hebrew for 2,200 years ago. Usually they wrote the Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, with Phoenician glyphs. They look very different than this. You can search the internet and see versions of Hebrew, and I can read this text here, for example, Al Arba Kranot. It's almost exactly the same, our square Hebrew letters. Traditionally, we call it Assyrian letters. Ktav Ashuri. Assyria was the greatest empire at that time. But I don't know if they use this kind of letter. This is a tradition. According to the tradition of the rabbis, the Torah was given with these square letters and not with the Phoenician letters. You can make a search and find the Phoenician versions, which there are. We have manuscript, discovered manuscript in the archaeology with the ancient Hebrew glyphs. We have such coins. We know how to read, of course, the ancient Hebrew. It's quite amazing, unbelievable. But I can read the text from, you cannot read the English text from 2,000 years ago. First, it didn't exist. I think first English was just over 1,000 years ago, and started to write it down, emanated from presumably Latin and German, or whatever. And Gaelic is offshoot of one of those Roman dialects, and German dialects all got mixed. Germans didn't mix with Latin. The Romans didn't succeed to subdue the German tribes. The only nation in Europe that didn't succeed to conquer. And that it brought eventually the destruction of the Roman Empire, etc. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So-called human history. I don't want to keep on going if you so wish. Sometimes I get the mood. I'll show you, okay, the last relic in my Baba treasure. Is one of the booklets I pointed. During there's the teachings of Avatar Baba by Ramju Abdullah. This is a very nice booklet. It appears in English. You will see it on the Meherabad website, on the Trust website. I translated it to Hebrew during 1996. At that time, it was, of course, after I did the Hebrew discourses translation. And from 84, I was working under the supervision of Don Stevens, and it was quite smooth, no problems. No problems. I didn't have any. I did translations, and I had to accept receive his confirmation. He sent my work to be examined by experts, an expert in Israel. So it is, maybe you can read it. Silent teachings of Meir Baba. What's so special about this? I was in Meherabad in 1998. I brought it with me and see what happened. I asked the Mandalay to sign it. These are signatures you can see here of the Mandalay. All the living Mandalay signed it. You see this? Also here. And so here they asked me what is this. I wrote it in English. It's a nice relic. Signatures all the Baba Mandali at that time. Here's Meheru, Manu, Balnatu, Meherwan, Eruch, Kati Rani, Arnavaz. I grabbed all the Mandali one after another. I grabbed all of them, signed the booklet. What do you think? It's precious. Man, most tons of gold. Who can have such a thing? I used to have such things. Once I used to make a wood carvings in Meherabad. I was thinking that I'm moving to Meherabad. After Bauji invited us to move to Meherabad on spiritual training, supposedly, he gave us a letter of an invitation. I was quite stunned. It was 2002, and I love to be in Meherabad, and I didn't know if we will be able to get along there. My wife is not official Baba lover, but she loved to visit Meherabad. She met Mehera, etc. And we were discussing to move to Meherabad because we would receive assistance and stay there and help the trust. And in Meherabad, I felt more practical and helpful for the whole business there. I was working with a team of Ted Judson, the architect of Meherabad, helping him with fixing things, building things, whatsoever was needed. It was fun. And at that time, I did the carved doors for the NPR. If you visited the NPR, you visited the new hotel, right? It's on behind the Samadhi, Upper Meherabad. Which year you came to Meherabad? I don't hear you. You remember? I think when you came there, it was already open. 2006, you were there. You are frozen. Okay. When you will wake up, then I will talk to you.
3.
Never mind. You you were frozen for a minute.
2003.
Which year you were? I took it.
2003.
Just a minute. 2003?
Yes.
20 years ago.
Yes.
They were just building the NPR, I think, at that time.
Yes.
And I was contributing the carved doors. You didn't come after that?
To where?
To Meherabad.
Yeah.
Which year?
2003, Etzion.
And after that, you didn't visit again?
Yeah, with a big group with Don Stevens in 2009.
So you stayed in Upper Meherabad in the new NPR.
Yeah, but 2003 was the old pilgrimage center.
Yes. We stayed in the old PCE, Pilgrim Center. And if you stayed in the new NPR, and then in the reception, the doors have wood carvings on them, and I did the wood carvings on behalf of Ted Judson. He requested me. I was thinking I'm staying in Meherabad. I started to do artwork for the trust. I stayed there a couple of months, and I was doing these wood carvings for him. And that's my contribution to the NPR. I want to do more things, but I have realized Baba doesn't want me to stay in Meherabad. He sent me back to Israel, and all this plan was cancelled. Also, this due to my state of flexibility. When I come to a crossroad of decision, I make, for example, I have to go to the right and to the left. So what I'm doing, I'm going to the right and to the left simultaneously, and let Baba decide which direction. So I went to stay in Meherabad and back to Israel, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, till he decided you stay in Israel, and that's it. You don't go to Meherabad anymore. And as you can see, they expelled these days all the foreigners from Meherabad. The Indian government is giving a hard time. And actually, I didn't believe at that time that we will survive the weather condition. I was thinking to build our own house. I was told that they will give us a hut or some accommodation. They would give us an accommodation, and we could live there for $100-$200 a month. You can rent a bungalow with 5 servants in India those days, and would cover all your expenses. Definitely $500 could live like a millionaire in this country. Even now, I believe. I don't know what's going on. I think everything is becoming more and more expensive in India and Meherabad. Meherabad is becoming an expensive place. I could have bought a condo at that time for $8,000, which is now 80,000 and more, most likely more, because there are more and more Indian Baba lovers coming there, and they have money and they're investing and they're purchasing land, and that's very good. Baba said a whole big city will be created over the years over there with a lavish Jewish community. But what's going to be now with all these restrictions, somebody has to tell Mr. Modi that putting restrictions on the Meherabad Trust is no good for India. Maybe they're going to
No.
find out. It's a very bad karma. It's all this is arbitrary. They decided that there is a military barracks. The military barracks were created many years after Baba moved there. There was nothing. When Baba came there, over the years, military created military grounds. But till a few years ago, there were no restrictions whatsoever. Who cared? Now they're worried the Westerners will spy. I will get an Indian soldier walking inside the military barracks, and I will bribe him and he'll give me all the information I want. They sell their mothers for 10,000 rupees. You're kidding? The foreigners who come there for spying, they're mad, you know. The person who issued an officer from the place there for the military, he regretted this, but he cannot go backwards. Yui, if you don't know if you know Yui, he is one of our long-timers residents in Meherabad. He said that if he would regret his decision, he will lose his post. And you know, that's a big blow, what he's going to do. It's crazy. That's what it is. Okay. We had a good discussion so far. I'll stop the sharing, the recording.